Giving me an up-close and personal view. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the JoAnne Powell Show. I am JoAnne. We are coming to you from the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM Hollywood. We have been talking about President Trump and his address to Congress and some of the aspects of what he was talking about. One in particular we've been focusing on is immigration and the impact that has on the 11 million undocumented workers or people in the United States. And there's been kind of a crackdown and raids sweeping across our nation that has a lot of people who are in that community very scared and concerned. There's been Homeland Security release executive orders on immigration and border security. Under the order, border security and ICE agents will be able to deport more people. Basically, the order calls for an expansion of the expedited removals. In the recent raids that we've had by ICE agents, they specifically are looking for criminals. But when they are looking for criminals, everybody pretty much can get swept up in the net that's been kind of gone out there. There have been some raids in Los Angeles and across the country. Take a look and listen. Protesters stand up and speak out. They are outraged about the roundup and detention and deportation of dozens and dozens of undocumented immigrants. They were rounded up in a recent sweep of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE.
We're dealing with raids that tear apart at the fabric of who we are as a nation and a state.
ICE officials say the raids are not random, but targeted at criminals here illegally.
The claim that our enforcement actions resulted in the mass detention of foreign nationals who had no criminal history, and that is just absolutely false.
161 people were rounded up in 6 Southern California counties. The raids were over a 5-day period. ICE says 151 of those picked up had criminal records.
About 75% of them actually had felony convictions. The other ones had either multiple misdemeanor convictions or one misdemeanor conviction.
Immigration attorneys and advocacy groups want undocumented immigrants to know their rights.
You do have constitutional rights. You do have due process rights. Make those rights, exercise those rights. They do, independent of your immigration status. You do have a right to see an attorney. You do have a right to see an immigration judge.
These raids are the most recent actions since President Trump signed an executive order on immigration last month. Well, under this order, besides those convicted of crimes, will also include anyone who is convicted of a fraud of any official matter before a government agency. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Joining me to talk about what your rights are and knowing, Nancy Miller. You're an immigration attorney. You're also the managing partner with Reeves, Miller, Young, and Diza. And also you're certified by the California Board of Association for being a specialist in immigration and nationality law. Yes. And also you're an executive board of the Southern California chapter of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Yes. So when you find out about these raids that are going on, and we've also talked about the laws are kind of the same, but they're getting a little stiffer in what's happening, but definitely the mood is different. What are we talked about some of the rights that people need to know, but let's continue that conversation, because a lot of people out there who are in this community, either they have outstayed their visa, they're still here, they may have come for school or work, a lot of people that's happened to, or green cards, or they're here or just undocumented in general, or they've been here for several years. You've got the dreamers. Right. So those are children who came over with their parents without documentation, who are growing up here. And so there's kind of like a little mixed bag of a lot of things happening right now. So what should people know who are kind of in one of those scenarios about what could happen to them and their families and what they should prepare for?
Well, I want to go back for a second to the clip and the ICE officer, the Officer Marin, who said that these are people who are very dangerous and who have felony convictions. Out of the, I believe it was 600-something people who were rounded up in the first set of raids, approximately 151 of them had convictions for one drunk driving arrest, one drunk driving conviction. Now, that's almost as many people as were taken into custody in California, Southern California completely. So we're not talking about serious convictions. I don't make light
The serious
of drunk
criminals,
driving.
right? But they're not trying to kill you or to hurt you.
Yeah, it's
Except as a drunk driver.
and they are punished for
Right.
the fact that they have committed a drunk driving offense.
Right.
But let's not compare them to a major felony, because that's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
And yet these people are being picked up as well. As we talked about before, the main thing for people to remember is that they do not have to speak to the officer. And they can say, I don't want to talk to you, or they can hand them a card that says, I don't want to talk to you. They don't have to answer questions about where they're from, where they were born, how they entered the United States. They do not have to and should not sign anything without knowing exactly what they're signing and without speaking to a lawyer first.
Okay.
Because you may be giving away all of your rights and you may find yourself on the next bus or plane
Out of this country, because that's happened to a lot of people. They've
Yes.
kind of been tricked into signing their exit out of the country.
That is true. That was very true at the airport when the executive order
the travel
rolled out.
ban.
The travel ban. People who had green cards,
Right.
people who had visas, were being told they should sign away their right to their green card. They should abandon their green card. They should withdraw their application to enter the United States with the visa that was validly issued to them. And then they were turned back and put back on the next plane to where they came from.
Yeah, and that was a whole. You were one of the attorneys that actually went to the airport at
Yes.
LAX and was there to help
Yes.
those people that were stranded and just frantic because a lot of people were in transit when this ban actually took place. So when they arrived, things were a lot different than when they left.
Exactly. They boarded a plane with a valid visa, with a green card, thinking that they were either coming home or starting their new life in America, rejoining their family and friends who've been waiting for them. They get off the plane, and there was a confusion at first about whether it affected green card holders or not, and at first they thought it did, so they're there in detention as well. And again, these were people who were being told you should give up your right to your green card. Other people were told your visa's no good anymore and you have to go home. And we were talking about the right to an attorney. Unfortunately, in secondary inspection at the airport, you don't have the right to an attorney.
Okay.
So you can insist that the main thing at that point is don't sign anything
Okay.
and insist that you want to see an attorney.
Okay. Good things to know. And before we go to our commercial break, let's just really quickly your reaction to Voice, which was what the president was talking about, which is the Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement. What are your thoughts about that task force?
Well, I think if he really wanted to help victims of violent crimes, the state of California has a very good program for victims of violent crimes, and it does provide medical care and psychological care for people who are victims. It, however, does not point a finger at immigrants. That's what this seems to me to be. It's particularly one of the other things that's part of Voice is that the president has said that DHS should create a list of all of immigrants who have committed crimes or violent crimes. In itself, that's meaningless unless you put it against a list of people who are native-born Americans who've committed crimes. How else can you compare what's really happening?
Okay, well, we're going to continue to talk with you, Nancy Miller, who is an immigration attorney, to find out what your rights are and what you need to know. You're watching the JoAnne Powell Show. We will be right back.
If you are an adult that began college and has not finished your college degree, let me put it to you straight. If your lifestyle and your standard of living is not becoming to you, then you should be coming to us, Oakwood University Elite Program. We are the fast, flexible adult degree completion program for the busy adult, like you.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098. It's time to leap.
For years, people have trusted McKay's Family Mortuary. We're part of your community and we'll take care of the details. We offer a variety of memorial services, including sea scattering and cremation. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the average funeral cost is over $9,000. We have complete funeral chapel service starting at only $31.25, casket included. Direct cremation starting at only $9.95. Visit one of our 5 locations and meet our caring and diverse staff. McKay Family Mortuary. Let us be the shoulder to lean on.
Thanks to Oakwood University and the LEAP program, I have now a college degree. So to the Spanish-speaking members of this community who feel that the LEAP program is something you should consider, I would say, ánimo a la universidad. Considere el programa LEAP de Oakwood University.
Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.
Seize the Day Scuba for your best scuba experience above and below the sea. You'll find friendly staff, experienced PADI certified instructors, and state-of-the-art scuba equipment and gear. Join our dive club and we'll help you plan memorable scuba excursions. Immerse yourself. Seize the Day Scuba, serving Southern California. Call 949-220-0500 to create your scuba experience.
When I first started into the program, yes, I had doubts. I was really impressed with Oakwood University, with the faculty and the staff and the student body. It was a really good experience, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who was thinking about going back and finishing their degree.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.